6 years ago in October, the Elliott Homestead cooking community began. That first month, we were armed with not much more than a tech support specialist and some recipe cards, but we were eager to launch our new little dream into the world. It was met with a lot of excitement from other home cooks like me, who were not only looking for detailed instructions on cooking dishes from scratch or inspiration to try new foods and flavors, but who were also looking for a community where they could interact with other home cooks and maybe not be the weird one. You see, most of us end up with the same questions and roadblocks in our kitchen. Whether you love to cook Indian food or Thai food or good old-fashioned American hamburgers, our work in the kitchen can be uninspired and isolating. Even though the Elliott Homestead lives online, we've always looked for ways to physically reach into your kitchen, as if we're sitting alongside your stove with you, encouraging you and championing the important work that you've set yourself in the kitchen. First with the Elliott Homestead, now with our online store, LIMONE, and later in 2025, in-person getaways together. I guess it's time for an update, wouldn't you say?
Hey, cheers.
Cheers. Guess it's time for an update, huh?
It's time for an update, you guys. We just haven't sat down with you and updated you on life lately. So pour a glass with us or make yourself a cup of chai tea or whatever it is that you want to enjoy. We just kind of wanted to give you a brief. I mean, this time of year, here we are, the middle of December. You can't help but reflect.
I know, it's the end of the year, so things get very reflective this time of year.
They really do. And for business owners, I know a lot of you work and a lot of you have jobs, and this is fourth quarter. It's a really busy time for entrepreneurs, for everybody, really. There's a lot of things going on, and it's no different for us. Life has really shifted, especially this last year, I feel like, because the kids now are getting older, we are getting older, and we're getting ready to celebrate in 2025, 15 years of the Elliott Homestead.
Yeah, it's a big landmark for us. So I've been thinking about it quite a bit lately. Just how in the world, first of all, did 15 years go by since we struck out on this endeavor and had that dream, you know?
Yeah, I started the blog when Georgia was 10 days old, when our firstborn was 10 days old. And wow, the world has changed since then. The online world especially has changed since then. And I think what I'm learning is that as you grow and as time progresses, these dreams don't wither away. They don't fade. They evolve, and they kind of like a garden, your dreams end up going to seed and planting new dreams and spreading in different ways that maybe you didn't anticipate in the beginning.
Yeah, I know a lot of people probably that watch our channel either have a garden or they have gardened somehow. So you probably know what it's like when you let something go to seed and and then you're surprised with many, many more of those things to tend to the next season. So that is kind of what it's like.
And also, I know a lot of you have been with us here on the channel and on our blog for a very long time. And you also know what it's like to go through seasons of life because we've been together for a really long time now. So there are seasons when things are smaller, when you're just everything's smaller. And I think back to when we lived in Alabama and I had to trade my juicer that I got for our wedding, I traded it to buy a cage and some meat rabbits because that was like the only way that I could begin this lifestyle that I really wanted to invest in. And I had to borrow a piece of land, somebody who just let me grow a little garden in the corner of their yard because we didn't have anything. And so we were looking desperately to find ways to be able to live this life that we wanted to live. And I know you guys often find yourself in the same position because we read your comments, and sometimes life finds you in an apartment or moving back in with your parents or buying your first homestead, or maybe you have the opportunity to lease a piece of land, or maybe you've done that and now your kids have moved away and you don't quite have the energy anymore. And so you're downsizing. So what we're learning is that this is just a natural evolution of life, and it's the same for us as well.
It is.
We experience these times of big growth, like when we moved to our farm here. Do you guys remember that? That was 9 years ago this month. Can you believe that?
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, it's hard to believe. So much has happened. And I think too, when you're so invested every day's full. The days pass without you even realizing that they're passing so quickly. And then you stop on a day like today and you say, oh, that was 9 years ago. And it kind of, it dawns on you. But lots happened. A lot has happened in those 9 years.
A lot has happened, not the least of which is our kids have grown by 15 years almost. And so we're feeling that pinch of the kids just kind of stepping into their tween years, teen years, and what that means for us as a family and being present with them. And some of the things that I used to have more time for that I found to be quite easier when they were little, like cheese making, I don't quite have the same capacity for right now. And I know that that's momentary. It's a season of things. But it's still where we find ourselves in. And I think maybe you go through periods of fighting this more than others, but I feel in a posture of submission to what is, and to those seated little babies and those little possibilities of this dream that we've been building for the last 15 years. And all the new little sprouts that have come of that.
So what are some of those updates? What are some of those things? Because people might not know how things have developed.
So 6 years ago, when Stu and I were in Italy, we launched the cooking community under the encouragement and kind of just like, go get them, of Carla from Jovial Foods. And that was such a pivotal move for the Elliott Homestead, because what we were trying to say is we decided to invest our energy in the kitchen. And so a lot of you come to our channel. Maybe you grow your food, maybe you don't, maybe you garden, maybe you go to the farmer's market, maybe you just go to the grocery store. But regardless, we all still find ourselves in the kitchen. And to us, that's where it kept coming back to. So the cooking community just celebrated 6 years, and it's growing, it's still growing, and it's just this really vibrant community of home cooks. And I think my favorite part of this evolution is that it's not just, let's do it all ourselves. Everybody comes to the cooking community with a different idea of from scratch cooking, knowing that they want quality, but not everybody grows their food. Not everybody gardens or butchers their own animals or milks their own cow. People come with all kinds of different backgrounds and all kinds of different goals. So it's really become this community of people. And I think that's probably the most exciting piece of evolution for the cooking community.
Yeah.
But then also, because we found ourselves back in the kitchen over and over and over again, as much as I love my gardens, I realize my continued passion and where we keep coming back to is the kitchen. And so it was with that love and that desire to continually feed that creativity and what would you call it? Just the heart of the home. Continuing to want to swell that. This year we opened Limone.
Yeah, that was a big, almost sudden move. Even though when you look at something like that, you can reflect and see that perhaps it was several years in the making. You just didn't realize how everything was marching towards that moment. But opening Limone.
Our online retail store, if you haven't heard.
Yeah. Yeah, it opened this past fall. And I mean, projects like that, they're a huge learning curve because you take something that you love and you're interested in, but in order to bring it to the world, there are so many other pieces that are involved in that that you have to learn and execute. So that's been a pretty incredible process. But been very happy with how
so fun.
it's all come together.
It's so fun. So we knew pretty much out of the gate with Limone that we wanted to bring craftsman products into the kitchen. Products made by artisans around the world that were meant to be used, that were meant to enhance the culinary artistry of your kitchen.
Exactly. Yeah. And that also touches on, I think, one of the other huge pieces, but kind of like foundational pieces, which is, yes, we've focused on the kitchen, but it's not just the kitchen. It's beautiful things in the kitchen. It's like you said, it's a culinary artistry. And I think oftentimes for a home setting, we're so focused on just the practicalities of getting food on the table for a family, those kinds of things, which makes sense. But we often either feel like we can't or maybe feel guilty for taking the time to enjoy the beautiful aspects of those things. And I think that's part of what you've really tried to do over the last several years, is encourage particularly home cooks to not forget about that very important piece of things.
Yes, kitchens have to be pragmatic. They have to be workable. They have to be functional. They should be used, and they should be really beautiful. And I have learned time and time and time again over the years of doing this, the kitchen is like the horse's head, and it really steers the rest of the body. Wherever you point the kitchen, the rest of the home will follow. So if the kitchen is thoughtful and beautiful and feels calm and feels like a place of blessing to the family, magically, the rest of the home and the atmosphere of the home really follows that. So it comes back to the kitchen time and time again. And so we are throwing ourselves into our online store because we've realized the power that it has to curate homes into something that's really beautiful, where home cooks want to be. And they're getting to express that creative artistry in their kitchens and culinary artistry. And that's really beautiful to see.
Yeah.
So lots more coming from Limone in the coming months.
Yeah.
And then Stu had this wild idea for our 15-year business anniversary.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been thinking a lot about it and just how momentous that really is. And any excuse to celebrate, you just need to take advantage of. So that felt like a pretty natural excuse to throw a celebration. And what better way to do it than to celebrate in one of the places that has been the source of so much inspiration, which of course is Italy.
Of course.
So
Certo.
yeah, just piecing some things together here.
More on that in the coming weeks.
Yes.
We hope to release the details really, really soon. But when your husband comes to you and says, I know what Italy means, let's have a party. Let's have a party for our 15-year anniversary. You say, okay. But I'm so excited. I can't wait to share more about that. So lots of things. And yet at the same time, even though they're new, they're still true to that parent plant. You know what I mean? They're just new little seed babies that come back. And I was recently going through pictures of the first time that I went to Italy when I was 21 years old. And it's food and flowers and gardens. That's it. That was all I took pictures of. Like, yes, you see all these incredible buildings, but that's always what it comes back to for me. And I guess I just was born that way, and thankfully have married somebody who can see that vision as well and loves those things as well. So beautiful things in store.
Mhm.
So that's not quite our goals video. We do one of those on New Year's Eve, and we
Right.
make donuts together. So that'll be coming in a few weeks.
Mhm.
But we're here and working hard and really trying to create beautiful things for our home and for your home as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Well said.
Thanks. Let's make some cream puffs. I'm hungry.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the very first recipes that we ever did in the cooking community was these cream puffs. And serendipitously, they were also what was served to Stu and I on a platter when we arrived in Italy 6 years ago, the same month that we launched our cooking community. They are now one of those foods that we are so happy to make. They bring us such joy and such comfort, and isn't that the point of what we're trying to do here? Whether it's the tools that we bring into our kitchen or the recipes that we make with those tools, this is where I am happiest, and this is where so many of you are happy as well. I'm so happy to meet you in the kitchen together this year. Cheers.